Welcome to Streaming News Network, where we deliver balanced reporting with the facts that matter. The Evening Edition by J. Claude McDaniel. Please like and subscribe.
This is J. Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. Newly released internal emails are shedding light on safety concerns surrounding the former migrant shelter at Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn, which housed approximately 2,000 migrants between November 2023 and January 2025. According to the documents, fire officials warned that the site faced serious risks, including the absence of working fire hydrants nearby, no sprinkler systems, and tent layouts described as maze-like, which could have slowed evacuation during an emergency. Officials also estimated it could take about 30 minutes to establish a reliable water supply if a fire broke out. Despite those warnings, National Park Service officials reportedly described the encampment in internal communications as clean, organized, and well-run, although they acknowledged cramped living conditions. Local elected officials and residents voiced concerns throughout the operation of the shelter, citing increased panhandling, deteriorating conditions, and what they described as the park becoming a dumping ground. Community leaders urged federal, state, and city officials to address the growing problems. The shelter was ultimately closed in January 2025 by New York City officials. The newly released emails have renewed debate over how safety concerns were handled and whether earlier action should have been taken. This is J. Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. A newly published opinion column is generating discussion over race relations, policing, and the role of high-profile civil rights attorney Ben Crump. The commentary argues that public figures who, in the author's view, inflame racial tensions following police shootings should face greater public criticism. The article specifically targets Ben Crump, who has represented the families of numerous individuals involved in police use of force cases. The opinion piece references the recent fatal police shooting of Corey Ruiz in Madison, Wisconsin. According to the article, publicly available video shows officers attempting to restrain Ruiz before one officer opened fire after officers reported that Ruiz was armed with a knife. The commentary also notes that Madison police officers were not equipped with body cameras during the incident, citing local funding decisions. The author criticizes Crump's public statements calling for criminal charges against the officers involved and argues that such comments could encourage demonstrations and deepen political and racial divisions. Supporters of Crump, however, have long argued that public accountability and independent investigations are essential whenever deadly force is used by law enforcement, particularly in cases involving minority communities. The shooting remains part of an ongoing public and legal discussion, and any determinations regarding the officer's actions will depend on the official investigation. This is J. Claude McDaniel for Streaming News Network. A Massachusetts automotive enthusiast took a calculated risk after buying a luxury Bentley Arnage from a junkyard for just $5,000. Shortly after the purchase, the junkyard contacted him with an offer to buy the vehicle back for $10,000, doubling his investment. Instead of accepting the quick profit, he declined, believing the car could be worth significantly more if he could repair it. The Bentley, which originally carried a price tag of approximately $300,000 when new, was believed to have a blown head gasket. However, after performing a series of diagnostic tests, the owner determined that the engine's problems were caused by old fuel and excessive fuel flooding rather than catastrophic engine damage. After replacing spark plugs, draining the fuel system, checking for vacuum leaks, resetting transmission codes, and refilling the tank with fresh gasoline, the engine started and ran smoothly with no warning lights or visible mechanical issues. The vehicle was then sent to a body shop for cosmetic repairs, including paint and fender work, before receiving new custom wheels and tires. In total, the owner says he invested about $8,000 in acquiring and restoring the luxury sedan, turning down the buyback offer in favor of bringing the classic Bentley back to life. This is J. Claude McDaniel for Streaming News Network. Authorities in Oklahoma are continuing to investigate the deaths of social media influencer Sarah Gilson and her estranged husband, Jeremiah Duffy, in what police believe was a murder-suicide. According to investigators, officers responded to a home in Owasso shortly after 11:15 at night on July 23 after receiving a 911 call from a minor inside the residence. Dispatchers reported hearing a woman screaming and crying, followed by what was described as a loud bang. Officers arrived just minutes later and found both Gilson and Duffy deceased. Court records show Gilson had obtained an emergency protective order against Duffy in June. She also referenced allegations that he had threatened suicide, possessed a firearm, and left the area. Separately, law enforcement had been investigating allegations of inappropriate conduct involving a teenage girl whom Duffy had reportedly coached. No criminal conviction had been reached regarding those allegations before his death. Just weeks before the shooting, Gilson posted a video on TikTok referencing the allegations against her estranged husband. Family members say Gilson leaves behind 2 children and remember her as a devoted mother whose children were the center of her life. The investigation remains ongoing. This is J. Claude McDaniel for Streaming News Network. A Georgia man is recovering after being bitten by a shark while protecting his pregnant fiancée during a visit to a Florida beach. The incident happened Saturday evening near the Dunlawton Beach approach in Daytona Beach shores. Beach safety officials say the man was standing in waist-deep water when a shark, estimated to be about 4 feet long, bit his left foot and ankle. The victim, identified as Ja'Cory High of Henry County, Georgia, said his first concern was getting his pregnant fiancée safely out of the water. He told local media the shark continued to approach him as he tried to escape, forcing him to push the animal away before reaching shore. Emergency responders treated High at the scene before transporting him to a nearby hospital with injuries that authorities described as non-life-threatening. Doctors later performed surgery on his foot, and he expects his recovery to take about 3 months. Marine biologists continue to remind beachgoers that shark bites remain extremely rare. Experts recommend avoiding murky water, staying away from large schools of fish, steering clear of active fishing areas, and always following the guidance of lifeguards. This is J. Claude McDaniel of Streaming News Network. A North Texas community is grieving after a missing substitute teacher and mother of 2 was found dead, and her boyfriend was arrested on a murder charge. Authorities say 41-year-old Vera Patulik was discovered inside her vehicle along the shoulder of Interstate 35 in Carrollton on the morning of July 21, after officers responded to a report of an unconscious person. According to investigators, Patulik was last seen on July 18 after reportedly having an argument with her boyfriend, 38-year-old Donnie Benedict, at a local club. Her family reported her missing 2 days later. Police say license plate reader technology helped locate her vehicle. During the investigation, detectives obtained a search warrant for Benedict's residence, where they say evidence led to the issuance of an arrest warrant. Benedict was later taken into custody and charged with murder. Authorities also confirmed he has a prior arrest involving domestic violence. Patulik had worked as a substitute teacher in the Grapevine-Colleyville Independent School District since January 2023 and was remembered by students and staff as a caring and familiar presence in local classrooms. Originally from Serbia, she moved to North Texas in 2013 and leaves behind 2 young sons. Her family is raising funds to return her remains to Serbia for burial alongside other relatives. The investigation remains ongoing. This is J. Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. The family of a 2-year-old Texas girl who survived a near-fatal drowning says she is showing encouraging signs after being transferred to a new hospital in Louisiana. Annalise Camp was injured during a Memorial Day gathering in Houston after wandering into a swimming pool. Family members say she was pulled from the water by an older cousin before cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or CPR, was immediately performed. She was then taken to a Texas Children's Hospital for emergency treatment. After physicians recommended a brain death evaluation, Annalise's parents obtained a temporary restraining order to prevent the testing, saying they wanted their daughter to continue receiving every available treatment option. The family now reports that Annalise has been transferred to Ochsner Medical Center in New Orleans, where they say she has shown stable organ function, healthy oxygen levels, and positive cardiovascular responses during treatment. They also note that there has been no significant change in her neurological condition but say they remain hopeful as additional therapies are explored. The family has launched online fundraising campaigns to help cover ongoing medical expenses, while medical providers have expressed support for the family's wishes and continue providing care. Annalise's condition remains closely monitored as her treatment continues. This is J. Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. An Illinois man is being held without release after prosecutors say he caused a fatal boating crash while operating under the influence on the Fox River. Authorities allege that 45-year-old Richard Stevenson was piloting a 31-foot pontoon boat at speeds approaching 80 miles per hour when it struck the rear of a smaller vessel in a designated no-wake zone Saturday afternoon near McHenry. Prosecutors say the collision claimed the life of a 48-year-old woman, who died at the scene, and seriously injured her husband. Officials have not publicly released the victim's identity. Investigators say multiple witnesses reported seeing Stevenson consuming alcohol throughout the day, and surveillance footage allegedly captured the boat traveling at excessive speeds before the collision. Stevenson has been charged with reckless homicide and 2 counts of aggravated driving under the influence. Court records also indicate he has previous arrests for driving under the influence, reckless driving, and multiple speeding offenses. A judge ordered Stevenson to remain in custody pending trial. His next court appearance is scheduled for August 5. The investigation into the crash remains ongoing. This is J. Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. New photos shared by Meghan Markle have reignited discussion about the relationship between the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and the British royal family. The images, posted on social media, are believed to have been taken at Althorp Estate, the ancestral home of the late Princess Diana and the location of her memorial. One photograph appears to show Prince Harry walking with the couple's children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, on the estate grounds. The photos have prompted differing opinions from royal commentators. Some believe the public sharing of the images could further strain relations with Prince William, who is often described as deeply protective of his mother's legacy and privacy. Those commentators suggest the post could complicate any future efforts toward reconciliation within the royal family. Other royal observers disagree, noting that the Spencer family would likely have approved the family's visit to Althorp. They argue that the photographs simply reflect the children's connection to their late grandmother and should not be viewed as controversial. Neither Prince William nor Buckingham Palace has publicly commented on the photographs, and there has been no official response from Prince Harry or Meghan Markle regarding the renewed speculation. I'm J. Claude McDaniel. Thank you for watching Streaming News Network. Please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for continuing coverage of today's top stories.
Thank you for viewing Streaming News Network videos, and also short and special reports. Please like, subscribe, and tap the bell to be notified of additional reports.